Hello, my name is Kawan Kim. I'm 20 years old. I come from Korea, and this is my story. Well, I was born in 93 in Seoul, Korea, and I moved with my mom to Los Angeles when I was 3 years old. And we went back to Korea after 1 year to be together with my father. And when I was 6 years old, I and my family had to move to Mexico just because of like economical situations and personal. At first it was really difficult. I got really lonely because I didn't know the culture, and I really thought that I was going back again to Korea after that weekend, but we really didn't. We stayed in Mexico for 12 years. So that was kind of like, ooh, it took me by surprise. It is really different from Korea. Teachers' expectations are very different, and the education system in general is very, very different. Well, I had a really hard time to be in class because they don't have what we today have, like ESL or Spanish as second language. I didn't have that in my school. I could really see like my other classmates making fun of me because I didn't understand a thing they were saying. But after a year, I managed to speak and understand Spanish with the help of my teachers and my aunt especially. And yes, I went to Korea last summer. I really didn't expect to see Korea like that. My memories from childhood was basically like a fantasy. That was a big shock for me because in Mexico, people are really warm. People interact with each other. Like you could be having a really nice conversation with a taxi driver and it will be totally natural, but like in Korea, you just don't do that. It was like being a foreigner in my own country, and at the same time, I was a foreigner in Mexico too. The only thing that I knew about the US at the time that I was in Mexico was, as a Korean, was that US and Russia were basically having this Cold War with North Korea and South Korea. So that's pretty much it. But I had no knowledge of how the US community would be or the society. Also, like the typical commercial or movies would picture like the perfect American families with mom and dad, with a puppy, with their 3 children having dinner, and really nice. When I graduated from elementary school, my family decided for me to attend to an American school. And I've attended the American School Foundation of Guadalajara from since 7th grade to my senior year in high school. The system there, they encourage you to go to an American, to the US, to study, to keep on studying. Another motivation to study in the US was because I really wanted to leave Mexico. I've lived there for 12 years. I didn't know, I was still struggling with, am I a Korean? Am I a Mexican? What am I? Like, where am I? Where am I supposed to go? And where will I really feel like home? So back then, like in high school, I just knew that America was a mixture of races, ethnicities. Like there's people from everywhere in the world. So I thought if I go to the US, I might feel like in home because there's going to be a lot of people like me that they've lived in other countries. They come from like half of the globe away. And I felt that I needed that to identify myself with other students like me. As you probably know, Eastern and Western cultures are very, very different. From traditions to costumes and like even their formal attires, like traditional attires, are very different. And since I was living with a very traditional family, Korean family, in Mexico, in a Western society, it was really hard because I felt that I needed to like satisfy the expectations of my family, which is like really westernized, no, easternized, sorry, and also feel like I'm part of the Western society. In my home, I would be like this Korean girl, but outside, I would be this Mexican girl or wannabe Mexican girl. When I was in Mexico, I really did not have to do any paperwork or worry about my passport or any federal documentations because my mom would do it for me. But recently, like right before coming to college, I did all the interviews by myself and I had to go to the consulate and do all the paperwork, get the I-20 and everything. It was a really hard new experience. I really told myself that day I was having the interview with the US Embassy member, official. I said to myself, like, I am growing and I've grown this much. And I thought, like, how much can I grow from now on? America is taking that issue pretty seriously, and it's going to extreme ways of trying to control that overflow of immigrants. But I think that the root of the problem is within the immigrants' country. The reason why they're actually crossing the border is because they can't stand living anymore in this country, in Mexico. Mexican politicians are not taking this issue pretty like seriously as they should. Mexico doesn't do a lot about that, and US is just trying to control that issue by itself when actually it's Mexico who should be really the ones who try to improve this condition. I would like to say to the future generations that plan to come to the US that they're very brave, first of all, because they're taking a step outside of their comfort zone and what they know about like their homeland. To leave your family in your own country and then you just step outside of the door. But I also want to tell them that don't think the US is the only place that you can go. The world is big. The world is big. There are so many places that you can go, and I don't want students just to focus on like, oh, I want to go to Harvard or Yale or any Ivy Leagues because it's like the top colleges, the top universities on the ranking. But I want them to pursue their dreams and know what's best for them. I encourage students to go abroad, but don't close up. Like, don't think that the US is the only place that you can study in. There's other places. Wherever you go, whatever these people are deciding to go, it depends much on the person, how they're gonna make their experience.